Hey, welcome to Magic Lantern Films weekly video web rant. I'm Peter Aramo. Thanks for watching. And last rant I said that this one was going to be a little bit more positive, optimistic, glass half full type of rant rather than my normal bitching about everything pertaining to Hollywood, and so it will be. This weekend, May 29th, we lost one of our great actors in Dennis Hopper. He just turned 74 this past month, and he died at his home, complications from prostate cancer. I was a tremendous fan, and I'm sure he'll sorely be missed, not just by me, but his fans across the globe and the Hollywood community as well. It's a career that spanned over 5 decades long and over 115 films, and modest upbringing in Kansas, and his family moved him to San Diego, where he was in some high school productions, and he got his start in high school productions and won a scholarship to the National Shakespeare Festival at the Old Globe Theater in San Diego, and springboarded that into making his TV debut in the TV series Medic in 1955. He played an epileptic, and immediately was signed by Warner Brothers, under contract with Warner Brothers, and I think 18 or 19 years old made his big screen debut in the classic film Rebel Without a Cause opposite James Dean. The two later appeared together again in Giant. They had a very close relationship. They became very, very good friends, and James Dean had a profound effect on Dennis Hopper, as an artist and as a person. In 1987, Dennis Hopper had said that the most personal tragedy of my life was losing James, so you could tell that had a big influence on him. James Dean, as well as Dennis, being a disciple and a pupil of the great acting teacher Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio. And when I think of Dennis Hopper, I think of a lot of things. I think of the man who directed one of the great American films in 1969, Easy Rider, the landmark film that he co-wrote, co-starred with Peter Fonda and a very young Jack Nicholson, and he directed. It was his debut as a filmmaker. He made it for less than $500,000. It made more than 40 times that. It was a box office smash and opened the doors for a lot of other filmmakers looking for a different way to make movies. And just, like I said, a great American film. I think the tagline went, a man that went looking for America and couldn't find it anywhere. And just a really, really, on the surface looking like a very simple film, but much more complex than that. And they make this money on a cocaine deal, and they go on their motorcycles and tour, travel America. Again, truly a great movie. Now, when I think of Dennis Hopper, I think of his scene in True Romance opposite Christopher Walken, and that's a great thing about Dennis Hopper, was that he would take these supporting smaller roles in films, and he would steal the scene. And if he wasn't stealing the movie, he was definitely stealing the scene, and you couldn't take your eyes off of him. And in that one classic scene opposite Christopher Walken, you know that he knows he's not making it out alive. And in those few minutes that you're watching Dennis Hopper, you're watching this tremendous transformation take place from defiance to humor to regret, and finally to resignation. And that, my friends, is true talent. That's what acting is all about. When I think of Dennis Hopper, I think of Speed, really good action adventure film that he turns what could have been a very stereotypical one-dimensional villain into something much more than that. Made the film a whole lot more fun, at least for me, and really creates another great a great character. When I think of Dennis Hopper, I think of the tremendous ups and downs of his career for certain, but I think of his comeback in the early 80s, Francis Coppola, getting him on for Rumblefish in the early 80s. I think of working with Francis Coppola in 1979 for the masterpiece that was Apocalypse Now, and that his photojournalist, where he's almost this brainwashed photojournalist on Colonel Kurtz's compound. I think most people that like Dennis Hopper and appreciate his craft and him as an actor think of 1986. And in 1986, he didn't come out with one or two. He came out with 3 unbelievable performances, and that was really the pinnacle of his career. You can look at River's Edge, this very, very dark, realistic film where he plays this amputee drug dealer called Feck. Very disturbing character, a disturbing film, but he gives a great performance in his comeback year. You can also look at well, the only Oscar nomination for him as an actor in Hoosiers. It's on the surface, yeah, it's a sports film. I think one of the best sports films ever made. But here, you could tell he took a lot of the his substance abuse that he took in his own life and used the sense memory he learned from Lee Strasberg and applied it to the alcoholic father that was Hoosiers. And he gives a very, very heartfelt, empathetic performance there. There's this one scene where Gene Hackman gets himself kicked out of the game as the coach and hands the reins over to Dennis Hopper. And Dennis Hopper is looking over to his son, and his son's looking at Dennis Hopper, wanting more, wanting to be proud of his father. And it's a very, very touching scene. 1986 was capped off by Dennis Hopper creating one of the screen's most unbelievable villains in David Lynch's masterpiece, Blue Velvet. And if you want to look at pure evil on film, there are a lot of great screen villains. You look at Dennis Hopper playing Frank Booth. Even Time magazine, Richard Corliss had said the vilest, sadistic creep in film history. And Frank Booth was just phenomenal. You can't take your eyes off, and you don't know what he's going to do next. This completely unpredictable character sucking nitrous from an oxygen mask, and when he was asked what he was sucking down in that mask and inhaling, he said, "I was inhaling Lee Strasberg." So again, you could tell he was using a lot of his experience with drugs and bringing that he was sober at the time to that experience and to that character. Completely haunting, and you won't forget it. So if you haven't seen Blue Velvet and you want to watch a great screen villain, watch Dennis Hopper in that. Dennis Hopper, I'm like I said, I'm going to miss him. Again, took these smaller roles, and he just kind of you can't take your eyes off of him. He was in Paris Trout, which he was unbelievable, and it wasn't just these weird, quirky, psychopathic, substance abuse characters. He also did great, just natural type of everyday characters. 2 years ago, he was in a movie opposite Sir Ben Kingsley called Elegy. Great movie. Kingsley is amazing, and his scenes with Dennis Hopper are unbelievable. Up and down career. He has a tremendous canon of work, and again, he's surely going to be missed. I'm going to look at his films, and it's very bittersweet now. You always hate to lose somebody. Of course, you don't know them, but you hate to lose somebody who you look up to and admire, and I certainly did admire and do admire Dennis Hopper's work. So you'll be missed, Mr. Hopper. Thanks for all the great performances and the great entertainment. You're a true artist, and again, you'll be missed. Thanks for watching. I'm sure I'll think of something to rant about next week and bitch and complain about. Not very hard for me to do. So happy Memorial Day. Take care. Dennis, we're going to miss you.